Alright, thanks for everyone to stop by. I'm gonna start now. All right, good to see you, everybody. Um, this guy's funny. I'm ready to lose my life saving. Oh shit. I mean, yeah, you gotta be careful. But to be honest, I mean, I think it's risk and reward, right? So yeah, you see the opportunities. I'm pretty sure, you've been seeing this, you've been watching this stock for a long time, I think, right? I think that there, yeah, like people, like you have to bet on something, when there's money to be made, right? So, I completely agree with you. I'm also like that as well. But of course, not financial advice. It's yeah, but I think it's how do you say, like, I've been watching this one since 2021 January. So and there are people who might be out there that might be interested in this kind of stuff, but I don't know. It's very highly volatile stocks. I mean, to be honest, current situation is pretty bad. Like even the job market, it's not great as before. So I think people are trying to save money rather than, like, putting their money into the stocks. But I think people who does that, I think especially, they know what they're doing. I think they know, they've been tracking this for a long time. So I think they have the confidence to bet their money when they know things are ready to pop. So yeah, all right, good to hear from you. Yeah, thanks for everyone to stop by. I just finished just checking all these GameStop, AMC, and then other tickers that I'm interested in. So I'm gonna briefly go through all this kind of stuff. I don't have Twitter any news. I don't think there's a news here, Hazel. So yeah, I think we might have to still wait for the. We just had the. I mean, we just had a directors and then director versus BBY case. So yeah, it was good to see that finally. We've been talking about this for a long time, but I think it's good to see finally that the plan man, trying to file a lawsuit, against the directors, the executives, and try to, I think, yeah, there's like a financial fraud, and they did mention that Mark Tritton, including the CFO, who committed suicide. I don't know if that's true or not. Yeah, it seems like there's yeah, a lot of things going on. So yeah, soon we'll be fine. We're gonna find out what the fraud, the settlement is gonna be. So yeah, with that, I think that's kind of where we at. We got another one that's coming in January 13th. That's a BBY versus RC case. James Hunter has to reply. And then the last one will be the February BBY versus RC case. I think that will be the big one. The interesting thing is the timeline. When I look at this BBY timeline, very interesting that they have this January 13 when this one is set it up there, because when I look at the GameStop fractal, interestingly, it set it up before the January OPEX, so there's potential run there. So I don't know if that BBY versus RC case, might, I mean, it could be the catalyst, or could trigger something. I have no idea, but definitely, I think something could trigger shorts to maybe close their positions or cover their shorts positions. And then February 3rd there's a VBY versus RC case, and then Ryan Cohen has to reply. Interestingly, I do think that this GameStop, AMC, this whole basket stock will squeeze by end of January, and then as you guys probably seen that the GameStop announced that they're not gonna do a next share offering. I think by fiscal year or something, but by the fiscal year end, which is I think January 31st or February 1st. So that is very interesting that February 3rd, there's RC has to reply for the BBY versus RC case. If he does admit that he acquire Bad Bath Beyond NOL, which we do think that he's gonna announce something like that, and then that will trigger this GameStop will tank, because usually the acquiring company, the stock price usually tank when they announce acquisition. So I do think that there's a reason why that they set it up there. So squeeze pick by end of Jan, by February 3rd, RC reply. He probably says he owns Bad Bath Beyond, our NOL, and then stock price tank, right? So I do think that there's a possibility that we're gonna hear announcement, and then I'm gonna talk about Nvidia after this, and after I'm gonna walk you guys through GameStop, AMC, and then I do think that there's a potential, like there's a possibility that Bad Bath Beyond will return in February. Yeah, hi Rupi, how are you doing, man? Good to see you here. So yeah, I'm gonna start now. So thanks everyone to stop by. We have 50 people watching, so that's good news. It's weird because on Twitter X, I got like 1,000 people watching and stuff, but here there's only 50. So I'm really curious if those are just kind of AI, But anyway, good to see everybody here. So I'm gonna start now. So today, I don't know if everybody kind of follow me on Twitter, but yesterday I did mention that we might hit this 31 level. So I kind of marked here, and then the very interesting thing is this thing pushed today exactly on the same number that I point out, which is $31 level. The reason I say that is because based on the fractal, the size of fractal seems very much in line with what's going on from 2021 January here. So Kevin Chen said, I'm here, always here, you're a big fan. Okay, good to see you, man. All right, thanks for everyone for kind words. So yeah, so based on the fractal, I do think that we are kind of tracking this, but the thing is, there's a, okay, so let me show you one more time, because if there's anybody who missed this thing here. So this is on the right side is a January fractal here, right? So this January fractal, when you take a look at this one, after this hit the bottom, and then there's like a push up. So I'm just close up this maybe the indicator, so that you can just focus on the fractal for now. So when you take a look at what happened here, this is December 21st. This is early Jan, right? Jan 7th. And then at the time, the algo, running really fast because of the liquidity, right? Right now, there's not much liquidity here, but we are pushing now. So when they create this, there's one upside and downside, right? And then this thing gap up, and then go for sideways, and then start them pushing up. That's kind of the fractal they created. After this, somehow they created this kind of triangle formation here. And I call it just A phase, just basically just before we moving on to a B phase, which we're gonna see a rally. So right now, I do think that we took almost twice than this time. This one took about 24 days. This one took about now 46 days. So which is almost double, right? And that makes sense, like I said, right? Because low liquidity environment. So now when you try to apply this fractal here, what it seems like was that they did try to push this thing here after earning, So after they hit the bottom, Roaring Kitty tweet, all right? So this thing popped, and this, all of a sudden, from AMC side, Adam Aron did a dilution. So this thing, pulled down the price with the GameStop, right? And then after that, we had an earning, and the earning, there was a pop, right? So okay, there you go. So I was tracking this as like, okay, are we here? Are we, ready to move? But it seems like they want to repeat the same cycle. So they repeat the same thing, so that we are kind of going through here. So based on that fractal, I did find out that they might repeat this one more time. Basically, they are running this algo, this fractal, just one more time to just take more. Maybe they want to buy more time, right? And then now we are here pushing through, and then this is exactly the spot that I noticed it, because that's the kind of same thing. they created here, and then they did a gap up here. We didn't do gap up, but they just ran it. And then after that, what's going to happen is that I think there's going to be a volatility, around here. You see that there's an ups and down, ups and down, ups and down. But what we can notice is that they're creating this bull flag. So I think this. So tomorrow we have a FOMC meeting, right? I forgot to write it down here. So tomorrow we have a FOMC. Okay. So that's December 18. I don't know how much they're gonna do the rate cut, but people say it might be another 0.25. We'll see. But yeah, but tomorrow we're gonna have a FOMC meeting, and then crypto market I'm gonna show you in a bit later after this, but it's gonna start to tanking. Okay. So I do expect that market will tank. But GameStop, will have a small slight pullback, right? And then there's gonna be still, creative volatility. So that's what I'm expecting here from now, right? Until Friday. So I did try to track what's gonna happen on Friday. Are we gonna just stop here? But I did find out that by Friday we might see a $33. This thing will push to here, and then maybe stop here, right? We're gonna finish by $30.33 and the 50 cents area, and then that's the quad witching, right? We got the quad witching week, which is our it's like a big option expiration days, and then that's like a big OPEX weeks. So yeah, if this thing push through here up to $33 level, then we have a much a higher percentage, we could see a gamma squeeze early next week, which is Monday. And if that happen, this thing will push to a $45 level. Based on the fractal, it could push more, but I think based on the fractal, it does seems like we could go up to the $45 level, maybe come down fast to a $40 level, and then just move around in this area, right? So yeah, I think that's kind of the update for the GameStop, and that's only the B phase. We still gotta go through another C phase, and then I know that I was looking at some of the GameStop option. People kind of through here and there. There's data. A lot of people actually buying into calls, right? And then that's a $125 call, and I think that was very interesting. I think there's a reason why people are kind of pushing this for $125 level. This one is how much is this one? Is the there's 125 here, right? Gen 17. This is December, Gen 17, the 175. Yeah, there's a Gen 17, 170, 100. There's a lot of 175. So let me show you what it looks like based on the fractal here. So Gen 17 is another OPEX, right? Usually mid of the month. Usually that's like a big option expiration day. And then Gen 17 before Gen 17. So this is Gen 17, okay? Sorry, this is Gen 16. So this is Gen 16, and Gen 17 is here. Okay. So before January 17 OPEX, this thing could hit $100 14 cents. Okay, $14. Sorry, $114. Okay, so 114. So this thing could pop. It looks like this thing will push one more time into the C phase, which what happened here, right? Oh, sorry, here. So, and then this will try to, push down, by Friday, because that's the kind of like the Friday is usually the market maker try to fight for the price, and after that, this thing will try to roll back, and then going for the final run, which is final D phase, I call it. And that's we're going to see end of Gen, probably around Gen 28 on Tuesday. So we might see something like that, right? This one also, pick on Gen 28. So I think we might mimic a very similar pattern here. So yeah, I think there's a reason why there's a lot of call buying for January OPEX, and then they're pushing this stock to the $100 level, and I do think that it's possible, right? So yeah, that's what I see here for the GameStop. Let's take a look at AMC. AMC is very interesting. I did mention that it does seems like after the AMC did a dilution, which also GameStop, Adam Aaron did a dilution in December and November 2020. It was quite interesting that stock price start tanking, like very similar to December, 2020 December. So it was quite interesting that they're kind of mimicking this, similar fractal, which you see here. It's drop, and then this thing start to push upside. What I find interesting today, the algo speed up. Okay, so I was tracking this, and then the algo start to speed up. Okay, so I do think that we hit this kind of similar spot here, and then we, like I said, tomorrow's FOMC, we're gonna hit, we're gonna, a lot of, I think all the stocks and crypto market will kind of come down, and which AMC will also have some pullback here, up to this $4.12 range, and then by Thursday or Friday, this thing will push up to this level. That's what it looks like. It looks based on this fractal, it looks like this is Thursday, and Thursday gapping up, and then by Friday, I do think that AMC could potentially finish the stock price at $5.10, something like that, and then gap up on Monday, and then this huge price action will come. But based on this fractal, this only go up to this level, $11 level, and then there's also gap here at $12 here. So I think we could potentially maybe fill this gap, and this come down really fast, and that's not it. The funny thing is, that's not it. I don't know. It looks like they just kind of try to, like, I think they know. Like, I think they're using some of the fractals here and there. They're using fractal here, they're fractal here. But they also know that the retail investors are also tracking, some of the TA. So I think they're trying to, fuck around with AMC right now. They might make you think that AMC might finish by this squeeze, and then maybe it's done. But however, that's not true, right? Because when you look at GameStop will do the same thing. It's gonna push through by after December OPEX. And then there's going to be another one in Gen OPEX, and then after that, the final one is end of Gen, right? The final squeeze. So if we did find out, AMC will go through the same kind of fractal as 2021, but this is not. I don't think this is going to be the, the squeeze. This is not going to be the final one, right? We know that this will be the second wave and third wave, right? So once, if I see this, then this will push down, come down. And I think it's gonna go sideways until maybe January 8th or 7th, and then do another run up here, right? By January 17th, right? So I do think that we're gonna see this kind of move here. This blue chart is also AMC, right? So this is a bigger version, and this is a smaller version, right? And then I think they're kind of doing that, that kind of weird stuff. I have no idea why they're doing that, but yeah. So if we push through this one by OPEX, and I think this is, I think first I wanted to see if AMC does push this thing to upside like this, and then come down like this at $6 level or $7 level. Okay, I want to see if they do this kind of stuff, and I think that will be my first confirmation that AMC, and if I see they did this kind of stuff, then I know how much AMC could go for the squeeze size, for this final pick of the squeeze. So and then the second will be, I want to see this confirmation, which is a C area by Gen OPEX, Gen 17. If they did hit this area, then the final squeeze will be this one, which is this D phase. And there's a small gap opened up here at $86, which it touched exactly on the spot right there. So, I mean, it might be, I don't know how much you'll go, but I think it's going to be a big one. I think a lot of people kind of underestimate AMC, but if AMC blow up, I think it's gonna be a very very big, and then I think a lot of people will get surprised by AMC because, you know, I don't know, like if you have been tracking AMC, I think you guys probably understand what's going on. But many people, when they just look at the stock price, and then when they just look at, you know, what the current price is, or what the current, the move is, people easily kind of underestimate that, oh yeah, this is just trash, based on the the historical chart. But when as somebody who look at the technicals, and then what's going to happen based on this whole meme basket rally here, and GameStop, I do think that there's a possibility that we could see a big potential of squeeze here, right? And then the reason I say that is because AMC has been kind of used as a collateral, right? Used as a derivatives, and then they're using this AMC to short other meme basket like GameStop and calls or other stock probably. And I think there's a reason why they're suppressing this stock, right? There's a reason why they're borrowing AMC. They use tokenized shares. Yeah, like they're really just trying to like kill this one. But at the same time, I don't know, like the way I look at AMC, it's not just I don't look at AMC as GameStop. I don't look at AMC as just normal stock. I look at AMC as how hedge fund look at. I mean, how short seller look at, how the market maker look at. The way I look at AMC is that they're using this as an instrument, right? There's a long time ago, I think Warren Buffett talks about this, and I think somebody posted this one before, and I did have a screenshot. Maybe let me just find it here. So this is what Warren Buffett said here. He said derivatives are financial weapons of the mass destruction, right? So he understand how the derivatives are very very dangerous, right? It can, this can be a massive destruction, and that's a swap, right? We did find out that Bill Hwang used a swap, right, with the Credit Suisse, and then he did and then the funny thing is, I have a filing here. The funny thing is, what they agreed on was that Credit Suisse lend him money, right? Bill Hwang, right? Credit Suisse lend him money, but the thing is, they'd be like, yeah, I'll let you use a swap, I'll let you use a synthetic, I'll let you use a leverage exposure without this, without you actually owning the stock. This is basically just fucking bullshit. This is basically just some sort of it's like a financial crime. But that's what the banks do, right? I was very surprised by this, actually. I was very surprised by how just all these very big banks are just letting this small hedge fund or small fund family run business company, just let them use synthetic leverage without owning stock. So and then I asked myself, if those banks allow the small hedge fund, right, to use those leverage and synthetics without owning the stock, the big banks, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, right, the big banks will probably do the same thing with a much bigger exposure, much bigger leverage. So when I apply the same thing to AMC, it completely makes sense to me. So the way I look at AMC is not the way I look at GameStop. Some people look at AMC as like, oh yeah, the CEO is bad. Yeah, I agree with that. Oh yeah, the company is like shit. Like, I mean, it doesn't. You cannot compare this. You cannot just compare, I think, AMC with just a normal stock ticker. You can look at just as a fundamentally. This is just financial instruments, like what Warren Buffett said. So I look at AMC as a bullet. I look at AMC as some sort of a weapon. That hedge fund use, the market makers use. They use this to short other stocks, and if the stocks that they got shorted so badly with the AMC, if those stocks got exploded, What happened to AMC? AMC will explode too, and we saw that exactly in 2021 January. GameStop explode, AMC explode, and then GameStop explode again in May this year. AMC also explode this year in May. How do you explain that, right? So I personally think that AMC I look at as a just, you know, how hedge fund look at, it's just a financial weapon, financial bullet, financial, like, yeah. So yeah, when they need to cover, they have to cover this thing too, right? All together, right? So you think that AMC will be $5 above max pain, and GameStop $33 above max pain on Friday? I think so. Yes, based on the fractal. Yes. Why would they do that if create a giant short squeeze? Because that's the cycle, I think. I mean, we know the fact that there's a cycle here. Although they don't want to do that, to do that. The thing is, okay, so let's talk about that. It's a good question, Kevin. So thanks for bringing that up. Personal opinion, not financial advice. Based on the fractal, I mean, not only just fractal, but based on the cycle, right? Bitcoin also have a cycle, you know that, right? There's a Bitcoin halving after every 4 years. There's a Bitcoin halving, and after that, what happened, right? The liquidity drop, and then the price of the value of the Bitcoin also go up because of demand, right? The Bitcoin keeps shrinking, right? So that's why the price is moving up, and there's a cycle there, right? Cycle exists. Same thing in the stock market. There's a cycle. There's a bull cycle. There's a bear cycle, and this bull cycle, they have to run this thing, no matter what. Let me show you the video here. Maybe this guy also explained this same thing. Let me find the video. I think I uploaded on my Twitter X here. Just 1 second. It doesn't matter whether they want to do this or not. It's just a cycle. And then but Ryan Quinn understands the cycle, and this guy talks about that. So let me show you this.
Love to hear that. Where do you think GameStop is going?
Well, the first stop will be 50. The second stop will be 100 plus. This is financial engineering. Get used to this theme. This is one of the themes of this bull market. It's just getting started. Ryan Cohen, the CEO of GameStop, has this figured out. And we think that if they announce a similar strategy to what Michael Saylor is doing at MSTR, look out above.
Well, I'm glad you said that.
So this guy mentioned that you gotta get used to with the cycle, and he thinks that if RC figure out the way he does things, to run this thing, which I do think that he does. So what based on so when I look at GameStop, RC, the way RC involved in GameStop, the way he announced, like, when he bought the shares and all that kind of stuff, he understand the basic of the not the basic, but he understand the complexity of the cycle here. Okay, so once I understand that, GameStop, it was just perfect. So let me show you why. I don't want to take too much time because I have to jump on another stream, so I'll just do a quick one. So this is GameStop. This is a bull cycle. After that, there's bear cycle, accumulation, there's bull cycle. Depending on each year, I mean, at that time was completely different. It has a typical of 3 settlements, and then, anyway, so this, from 2014, there's a lot of short sellers kind of piled in here, right? Including Marvin Capital, right? When went bankrupt after, the squeeze happened in January 2021. So this bear cycle was the big one, right? And then 2020, that we got the COVID, right? I did ask somebody who worked in the financial industry. He did admit that COVID was also part of their plan. So their plan was to create a basket stock, especially the retail sectors. They include GameStop, AMC, COS, blah blah blah, and they wanted to bankrupt the company, right? If they successfully bankrupt the company with the naked shorts, then they don't have to buy, they don't have to cover their short position. They just walk away with the profits, right? I think that was their strategy, right? They wanted to do that. The thing is, they fail. The reason they fail was that after they hit this rock bottom here in 2019, and then when you look at RSI, this is the oversold territory. You look at the red color, that's the oversold territory, and that's when Roaring Kitty got in, okay? And that's when, around this time, also I think RC started buying it, right? He announced his stake. RC announced his stake 9.6%, the first stake in GameStop, exactly a spot where this thing has to break out. Okay, it was just perfect. The way he buy the stock, the way he moves is just perfect. It was just like, if you're somebody who look at technicals, the way he moves, the way he announced things are very, very strategic. Okay, so once I noticed that throughout this whole for 3 years or something, everything is extremely well organized. I don't think he does it by himself. I think he has a team of analysts. He has a team of TA guys, and I think he does try to find a way that how they're gonna run this thing. Okay, and then we know that now after this bull bear cycle, when you look at MACD fractal whatever, let me show you monthly. It's so easy to look at. This is bull cycle. That's when stock price go up. You see that? Bear cycle, stock price go down. Yes, RSI go down. Next bull cycle, go up, go down, right? Big oversold territory. That's when Roaring Kitty got in. He understand. He was an institution guy. He was a fund manager guy. So he understand what's oversold, what's overbought. So he bought GameStop when it's oversold territory here, 2019, July, August. Okay, and then this is a bull market, right? This is a bear market. Now we are heading to another bull market. So there's a cycle exists. So I could answer you, Kevin, that we are heading to a we are in now a bull cycle now, where things gonna pop, right? And this depends on how the CEO, how the company runs, right? How they gonna run this thing with the companies. And I do think that not only just he announced some filings or announced this and that, I think there's also long forces involved in the stock price, stock, right? Like such as Roaring Kitty, you saw that in May, right? Roaring Kitty got in, stock price moved, we had a gamma squeeze, right? Also in this whole January was actually not Roaring Kitty, but was also RC play. People talks about Roaring Kitty a lot because he was more like kind of like more like, I do think he's more like a marketing type of guy, right? Of course he does his own trading, but I think his role is more like marketing. He was very easy to kind of like how to work with people, work with like just normal people, retail investors. But RC is very quiet guy. He doesn't really try to like talk to the retail investors. Like he's very hidden guy, right? Very secretive guy. But the reason this thing popped was because of RC, not Roaring Kitty. Okay, we have to remember that, right? So RC announced 9.6% stake in August 31st in 2020. 2020. And then before Gen Squeeze happened, RC bought another shares, 2.5 million. That happened December 21st. This thing squeezed, right? So I think, and that created also FTDs. And then there's a lot of options piled in. So I think that there's a reason why this thing happened, right? He perfectly timed things, correctly, right? And after that Gen Squeeze happened, drop, after buy button removal, this thing pop again. Why is that? It's FTDs. So a lot of things kind of, I think will mimic the similar fractal. And then I think that there's also long forces involved, such as maybe I don't know, maybe it's a RC's friend, maybe other long forces such as Roaring Kitty or other friends, but RC has probably other might be Carl Icahn, who knows, I don't know. But some other institution, might be involved here. So, they're trying to, push these things here too, I think, in my opinion, right? It's not just only RC. I think there's other people who might be involved. We also have new directors that hasn't announced his share yet, right? So I think that next week, I think, or sometime in this phase where things has to pop, I think we're gonna see the new board members, like new directors, the filings, in my opinion. I don't know when that's gonna be. I don't know if they're gonna kick that in for next week when this thing has to pop to $40, or do they want to wait till maybe January when this thing has to push? I have no idea. I'm not an insider. However, I do think that there's a reason why the new directors hasn't announced any shares. I think they're gonna create something here. That's personally my opinion. So I hope that answered your question. Okay. Gamma squeeze of the squeeze or the squeeze. It's the same squeeze, but there's a different type of squeeze. Gamma squeeze is the when market maker has to hedge, right? So they have. Market maker never buys shares, and then we find that throughout the whole 2-3 years, right? Studying GameStop. So what's interesting was the gamma squeeze. Basically, it could trigger the squeeze by the option. Okay. So there's 10 different ways that you could fight against the naked short seller, and then when you look at the number 10, it's called it says nuclear option. So when you have a shit tons of options, and then that goes in the money, and then people has to the market maker has to buy the stocks to hedge, and then that also push the stock price. Like they don't buy the stock until something comes up, right? And they'll be like, okay, there's a lot of option buying in, we gotta hedge, we gotta buy. So they buy the stock. They have to deliver the stock, to the people who also exercise their shares. So that also forced them to not to cover, but to buy the stock and then move the price, and that's called gamma squeeze. And then there's number 10, that's a nuclear option, right? And now we're just kind of waiting for number 6. Which is the dual merger or spin-off, and that's something to do with Bed Bath Beyond. And I don't know how many people are actually in the BBY. I do myself also in Bed Bath as well for the last 2 years. I do think that it's gonna come out as a chapter 11, and then it's gonna break the market in February, in my opinion. But I'm gonna talk about that later. But anyway, so I think there's a reason why GameStop will potentially announce the merger with Bed Bath Beyond, not Bed Bath Beyond, Bye Bye Baby. I think BBY will come out. There's a reason why they keep the ticker. There's a reason why they keep the ticker. And then there's Bed Bath Beyond shareholders figure out that there's a reason why they cancel shares in advance, and the reason was they have to keep the NOL. In order to maintain the NOL, they cannot, the stock cannot be traded, right? So they have to go ahead and cancel shares in order to protect the NOL. And NOL is the most important thing. It's a key element to acquiring side, right? Such as RC or GameStop, right? So yeah, I think we now figure out that there's there's a reason why the BBY got canceled due to the protection of the NOL, and then NOL is extremely important. Even Warren Buffett said NOL is very important. Even Pote said NOL is very important. So I think there's a reason why NOL is important, and then you have to at least have to I think keep that for 2 years. So now 2 years pass. So things has to come out, right? And the thing is, the now market is now bull cycle. I'm not talking about S&P. I think Nvidia will go down, right? There's a reason why they pump up the AI stock, right? They pump up the Nvidia. There's a reason why, because they need the liquidity for this kind of stuff. For this kind of event happen. And then we know that crypto will run also after some pullback. But yeah, I think there's a reason why RC planned it out very perfectly that he has to wait. He knows that he understands that he has to wait 2 years due to the protection of NOL. We wait for 2 years, and now we are entering the new bull cycle, especially for this meme basket stock, small mid cap stock, whatever. And then he knows that in this market cycle, especially entering this new bull cycle, if BBY comes out, right, new tickers comes out, things will blow up even bigger than when the ticker comes out in bear cycle, right? If the tickers come back in bear cycle, things can pop, but they're gonna continue to tank it, right, because of the cycle. But now the cycle is different. Cycle is now a bull cycle. So that if Bed Bath Beyond or Bye Bye Baby comes out as a new ticker, things will blow up even bigger. That's my opinion. Okay. So yeah, I think there's gonna be a gamma squeeze, and then yeah, I already kind of went through this, so you can kind of rewatch this later. I have to go through this really quick. So yeah, so that's AMC, GameStop. Let's take a look at Bitcoin for now, and then I'm gonna jump into Nvidia, and then I'm gonna start to wrap this up. Yeah, crypto market is moving up, and there's a lot of hype, going on. People talks about, whether people have to buy Bitcoin, and I warn people, like, you gotta be careful. Right now, based on the fractal, it does seem like it's tracking. What do you call that? This is 2020 fractal, by the way. So when you look at this green fractal, it looks exactly the same thing, right? Bitcoin halving, there's a big, creating this big panic formation, triangle formation, posting through. And now this thing cannot just keep going up, right? This thing has to kind of like retest the level some way and then push it up, retest the level, push up, things like that. And now I think we're in the position where like we might retest this level again, right? Below the 100K. So based on 2020 August fractal, it does seem that it's mimicking very similarly. So we did hit the all-time high, now starting pulling back. Okay, so like I said before, in GameStop AMC, it also has to it needs some pullback by FOMC, and then crypto will tank below 100K by early January. So there's no Christmas rally. I personally think it's tracking this one. And by January, this thing will try to push back again. And we know that GameStop AMC will squeeze in end of January, right? Or Jan OPEX around that time. So this thing by around January OPEX, this thing, drop minus 20%. Or sorry, 28%. So this thing will go down to 75, 76K level. And then that's when we're gonna see that GameStop AMC squeeze. And then the reason I say that is correlated is because in 2021, when you look at Bitcoin was also going to this bull cycle here. But when you look at this, what happened here in January, there was a pullback, right? This is 2021 January, from January 9th until January 28th, this thing pulled back 26%. So I do think that we're gonna repeat the same thing. The hedge fund market maker, they use this unregulated market, as a crypto, this thing as some sort of like a weapon again, right? So if they need a liquidity, they have to pull this thing back, to the market, cover their short positions in GameStop, AMC, whatever meme basket, they will do that. So I think they're kind of using this crypto market for that kind of stuff, and there's a reason why they pump this thing up before GameStop AMC kind of squeeze. So yeah, I expect I think Bitcoin hit the top. Now this thing start to pull back by end of January. So yeah, let's see how this thing plays out. Let's take a look at Loopring as well. I know that Loopring, I'm also interested in Loopring as well, because I think Loopring might be the once this thing hit the bottom again, after this pullback, it does seem like it's tracking the 2020 March, and then once they pull back and then go for the bull cycle, I think this Loopring, which is what GameStop used, could potentially have a big cycle here, big run up here. And then if you find a bottom after this pullback, around this range, up to this level, you could gain up to a couple thousand, up to 9,000. So I do think that if this thing tracking the same cycle here, the bull cycle, I think we might be here. We're gonna see this crash and then going into this whole thing. I think you could gain a lot of gain a lot from Loopring. So I'm pretty excited about this I think opportunity. So once I take a advantage, take a profits from GameStop AMC options, then I'm gonna buy some this Loopring crypto, XRP, things like that. So really looking forward to January OPEX, after January OPEX, or January end of January, take some profits, move some of the money to the crypto, and then just run with it, until what was the year? Until 2020, 2026 February. I think that will be the pick, right? So yeah, that's a loop ring. Let's take a look at Nvidia as the last one, and then maybe I'll maybe finish with Siri actually. So yeah, Nvidia start to keep climbing down, which I kind of expected here based on this fractal but I still want to see by end of the December, around December 27th, I want to see Nvidia come down to a $100 level. If that doesn't happen, and then basically this is tracking a same 207 October fractal here. And then from December, end of December, up to early February, that's when GameStop-AMC squeeze. Interestingly, Nvidia will pop up here too. But after around this February 3rd or 6th level here, Nvidia will start to tank it down. Okay, so it's quite interesting that how Nvidia kind of will move all together with GameStop-AMC, but this thing will push this down, like basically like crash in until April this level, and then that will be a minus 60%, I think. Yeah, that's a big. So I'm curious what's going to happen to Nvidia. What caused Nvidia between this February to April? And in my personal opinion, based on this whole fractals that I track, and then based on the BBY I track, I think BBY will come out between February and April, and I think there's a reason why Nvidia will tank, right? There's no other explanation for me, to be honest, right? Like, they're gonna use this Nvidia, like there's a reason why they pump this thing. They're gonna use the liquidity for something, right? And then I don't know how much is the market cap right now. It's a 3 trillion, okay? It's a 3 trillion dollar company. And then if you grab 60% from 3 trillion, how much is that? That's a lot. Where the money goes, you can think about that. Okay. Siri. Let's take a look at Siri as the last one. So yeah, Siri went down a little bit more. It does seems like the market maker continued to kind of tanking this one more than they did. They created a fractal before, which means that if they did more like that, then this thing has a potential to move up higher. There's a gap here at 27. They left the gap, so they're gonna move up to fill this gap. And if this fractal is correct, then I do think that this will push up to a $28 level by January 6th or early January. And then I want to see that confirmation, and then each day I'm looking at it, and then oh yeah, like when you look at this fractal, the way they move this thing, they sped up. Basically they're moving up, like they're basically like sped up the algo, right? Speed of algo. So around this phase, they sped up the algo, so they run it faster. Now I want to see this thing push up to $27 level to fill this gap by early January. By end of Jan, when GameStop-AMC squeeze, I want to see Siri will move like this, similarly here, by maybe $32 level by end of Jan, and I want to see that confirmation as well. And there will be one last pullback, and then I want to see that as a confirmation by it seems like March 12th. So yeah, that's kind of the fractal that I made based on the speed of algo that has been kind of ongoing for last couple weeks. So yeah, that's a Siri, and based on this speed of algo, like that's the hard part. You can track the thing based on the historical chart, but then speed of algo is something that you cannot really predict. Sometimes I look at things based on the last fractal, which what the market maker created, or whatever the long forces or short sellers created. If you track those things and try to bring it up here, it does kind of similarly match. But the thing is, the speed of algo can speed up fast. Sometimes it can be very slow. So you have to adjust every single day. Some people complain about it, like, oh, you say this, how come it doesn't happen? Because the market maker, they decide to, I'm not a market maker. I'm the just weather boy, right? I'm just a weatherman. Well, basically I'm just trying to predict based on the the market, what's going on in the market, the speed of algo every single day, right? Every single day is different, so you have to take a look at it every day to match, and then look at what's going to happen here. Just you're basically making a prediction. So nothing, what I see here is perfect, but I'm just kind of making a prediction like a weatherman, right? Weather forecaster. They look at the weather, they look at the cloud, they look at the rain. Oh yeah, there's some maybe big cloud is coming, maybe there's a tornado is coming, and then they're expecting there's gonna be huge rainfall or something like that. Yeah, so they're kind of using those kind of things to predict what's going to happen in the future. It's the same as TA. I'm looking at the based on the historical fractals, and then also look at the speed of algo each day, and then try to predict when will be the next run. So if you can look at that way, I think that will be great. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap it up today, so I gotta jump on another one. So thanks for everyone to stop by. So I'm gonna give you guys some updates also tomorrow, and then I'll try to do this chart every day, so you guys get some updates here. So thanks for everyone to stop by, and then I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night.